ask me, we will illustrate. Mercy and Wambo, no need to wait.
Audience, welcome to the very first episode of IYAM. If you ask me, I'm really excited to be here. And how are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm grateful to just be here. And again, this is If You Ask Me, and it's all about our perspective, our opinion. Again, this is not any advice in any way, but if you ask me a question, if you ask me something, I will give you my perspective and my opinion on it.
I wanted to say, a lot of people have been waiting for this moment for us to come up with something. I know we have a lot of wealth of knowledge when it comes to so many different things, of course, life, finances, and so forth. So we came up with this episode, If You Ask Me. I want us to speak a little bit about why did we really decide to come up with the podcast? Because I know we could have done a lot of stuff. We could have done a lot of live video. But I'm a sole believer of the fact that when you have something like a podcast, somebody can actually go in, rewatch, going over it and things. But really, let's talk about why. Why do you think, it's important for us to start this? Like, I want to get you to start this, but I wanted to think about what do you think? Like, why is this podcast?
First off, the reason why, again, like you mentioned, we have just humans overall, we have different experience, we have different vast of knowledge. I personally believe that there's always something to learn from someone else, whether it's from their experience, from what they know, from what they have been through. There's always something to learn, and I feel as if this is definitely that safe space where we can simply just share what we know, our opinion on certain things, our perspective. Again, there's no judgment here. Even from the audience, this is not a place of judgment. If you disagree, that's perfectly fine. We don't always have to agree, but we can definitely agree to disagree.
I was gonna say, man, I know this is social media, and I'm very easily hurt. Please be easy on us on that. I wouldn't like the bad comments, but hey, if you do have a bad comment, please, just go for it. But for me, really, if I really think about this, right, Mercy, we've gone back and forth for a while now.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, me and you don't always agree on everything, but hey.
Never. Like, sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree, sometimes we compromise. I was just think about, like, for example, during the election cycle and doing all kind of different things that was happening in this country. Found myself really, getting to know you a little bit more because, we had this perspective on things. So, sometimes we can agree on certain points. And I could tell you, like, I'm sure WhatsApp was so confused because we had, like, I don't know how many hundred or maybe even thousands of messages we send each other, like, back and forth, different topics.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. I know we're gonna be talking about this. We'll take you along with us for quite a long time. But it really is a platform for us to just express ourselves, really address our opinion, thoughts, feelings on certain things. Some of this is gonna be factual. Some of this is gonna be just if you ask me. I mean, literally, if you ask me, this is what I would say. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's the professional opinion. Though we are professional, but it doesn't really mean that. So I will say, disclaimer, right? If you do happen to get whatever opinion or advice here, whether it's investment, whether it's anything else, and you go out there and you make that decision for yourself, please do not come back at us. This is just mainly personal experience, mainly our opinion. Or putting this into it. But I would say I'm going to be honest, because if you ask me, I'm going to definitely be honest with you. I'd like to be an honest person. I'm sure it makes you agree on that, right?
100%. Now, given that we've spoken a bit about what this is going to be about, share a little bit about yourself. Do a quick introduction here. What your name is, what you do. Do you have any favorite hobbies? Do you have any favorite food? Let's hear about it.
Man, the way you mentioned food, I was like, okay, that's always make the cut somehow. My name is Loembo. I go by Loembo Mwenyi. My name is from Kirega. So that's Kirega, for those who understand. Democratic Republic of Congo. It's one of the tribe there. And that's where the name is from. What my name means, though, dear Mercy, I know you can talk about your name, but my name actually means advice. And for a very long time, I really didn't know what it meant until I wanted to name my son. And then I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just go and figure out, like, why did my dad name me this or whatever. And I go in there and I started to look at all my siblings. Every name has a meaning that actually follow the child. It's my opinion. Again, this is if you ask me. I'm not saying that's true. You can name your kid whatever you want. But I looked at my name actually means advice. And looking at myself backward and looking at through college and through life just in general, I like to give people advices. I was like, okay, this is cool. But that's what my name is. Professional wise, I went to Iowa State. I graduated there from Iowa State. I got a job. I did a little bit in finance. I worked a little bit in finance and decided to pivot and go into technology. So I'm actually one of the tech consultants for one of the major company here. So yeah, some of the stuff that I like to do for fun. I actually play soccer mainly every day. I know I live in the DC area, so we have a little bit of there's a lot of stadiums. There's a lot of places where you can like do pickup soccer. So I do that.
Mhm.
I also I bike. I go to like outside, outdoor. Last year when I had my son, I didn't really have a lot of time to do all these things, right? But now it's like it's summer. My son is working, so we can go for a run, go for works. But my favorite food, my goodness, I think you should introduce yourself and we can tag along on that because I have a lot of opinion on my favorite food. Like, I think you should introduce yourself first, and then we can go back to the favorite food.
Yeah, let me go ahead and introduce myself. First off, I don't speak French whatsoever. I have no knowledge. I can probably count from 1 through 100 in French, but that's pretty much it. My name is. I, honestly, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. That's just how crazy my name is in terms of me not speaking French. So it's pronounced Dieu merci, which translates to God, thank you, right? But it's a bit of a weird name given that it sounds so short. It seems a bit incomplete. I
Yes.
came to America as a refugee in 2009. So I've been here for about 15 years now. I attended Texas A&M University. From there, didn't feel like the best route. I went the entrepreneur route. After that, went into sales, and now I work as a sales engineer for a tech company. I love sales. It's the closest that I could feel where I still have this excitement of chasing something, of chasing quota. I love commission, right? But when it comes to the professional side, that's a bit about me. Again, being a refugee in America, I've had a really weird experience. I've been through some difficult things, but I'm pretty much grateful for all those things that I've been through, whether it's actually trying to learn English, trying to master it. In fact, there are some moments even now where I feel as if I have to sometimes double check my grammar just to make sure that,
Yeah.
hey, I'm doing
Yeah.
this properly. But that's one of those challenges of someone who knows more than one language has to go through. But I love what I do.
Speaking for a language, actually, I forgot to mention that part of my past too. As you well know, I've known Messi not only from here but actually back home. I had some kind of experience with his wife as well. We kind of live in the same village there, so we really know each other from back home. I actually was also in the refugee camp in 2020.
Wait, were
Being
you
your
also in
home-
Yaragusu?
Yeah, I was in
Really?
Yaragusa too, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Now I think
I
about
actually didn't know that.
it. You didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
So what's funny? Here's the funny part. Me and your wife literally were close. Like our village and their village is really next to each other.
Hmm.
And we went to the same like school and things like that. So I kind of knew a little bit of you of like that when you got married. But yeah, man, I'm a product of the refugee camp and I'm proud of it. I know a lot of people are not, and that's okay. I've seen a lot of people who came to the US, acclimated very well, and they decided to say, you know what, I'm not trying to associate with that. I wouldn't say Naragosa is the best place, but I would say it was a learning place for me. I grew up there. Like as you can tell, I came when I was like already an adult, almost an adult, right?
How old were you when you came to the state?
I came when I was like about 16, 17 years old. So if you really can think about that, right? I mean, I was an adult at that time, so I really know all that experience. I carry that with me. And when it comes to when you were talking about like learning issues and looking. I would say thanks to ChatGPT now we can actually prove right some
Yeah.
emails. But, like that was my biggest like fear going into corporate world because like I'm gonna send an email, it's gonna be bad
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
What was one of your struggles when it comes to adapting to the life here in America?
Man,
What turned you
everything was
on?
everything was a struggle. But I don't really think of it as a struggle. I mean, I would assume like if a person from the US goes to Africa right now, today, they will still struggle the same way. So it was just a matter of change. My biggest deal was I remember literally going to high school. I went to Boise High School over there in Idaho. I went to class with a dictionary. And I want the audience to just let that sink in for a little bit. This is like some extra level stuff to where you're listening to a teacher speaking and you somehow have to look that up in your dictionary to understand what they're saying.
Mhm.
And they're not slowing down. I remember the first book we read in our English class when I came, because I studied as a junior, I was already older. It was The Great Gatsby. And I can tell you, since that day, I don't even understand what that book is about. I never understood what that book was about. Every day it's like, Daisy said this, they talk about character in that book, and I just couldn't get it. I went to class, yes, but I couldn't get it. It was very hard. What about
And
you? Like, what was your experience? Actually, I know you came a little bit younger, right? So I
yeah,
know some of us who came a little bit older. It's a lot of pressure. But
I,
how was you? Like, how did you acclimate into that?
it was quite a difficult journey. I did, even though I came a bit younger. I think at least the person that I was back then, I was a bit shy. I was a bit pretty much was in my own box. I wasn't very interactive, so like the first 3 years or so, I still couldn't speak English, right? And my mom was not comfortable with us going outside. It's a new country. It's just, you know how some parents are. It's just to fear that, hey, but if something happened to you, we don't know. This is a new environment. So we kind of were just inside the house. If I go out, it's probably with people I know who speak Swahili or something.
Yeah.
But for me, it was quite difficult to actually learn English. It wasn't until I started going to middle school where now I was a bit forced to come out of my comfort zone. Now I have to interact with people. Now I have to actually learn the language. So I feel like it took me a little while to actually learn the language, even though I came at a young age. But that was really the process. And I didn't really learn how to read properly until around my 8th grade year of middle school, right? So from 6th grade, 7, I was still struggling with reading. I was one of those kids where if the teacher is asking a question, I'm praying that they don't ask me the question.
You're staying in
Right?
the back. You're like staying in
Yeah.
the back and not
Or
trying to get nothing.
or sometimes the teacher will ask the class, "Hey, is there any volunteer to read?" I'll like, "Okay, please don't select me. I don't want to volunteer." And that also came with some sort of insecurity of simply having an accent. At least at the
Yeah.
time, the
Oh my.
accent was quite strong.
Yes.
Insecurity of perhaps you'll mispronounce a word,
Yeah.
and the class might laugh at you. And when you are in middle school, a bunch of the kids mostly, they're a bit. I want to use the proper term here, perhaps ignorant in the sense that there's no grace or understanding that this individual
It's not
come
from here.
is
Yeah.
not from here, or this is something that's new to this individual.
Man, you mentioned something interesting. You said something about accents. Same thing as me, right? When I came, I did my studies back home a little bit, and it was in French, like completely in French. So when I came over, I also went through an accent insecurity crisis. I don't know if it's a real thing. I'm just saying, I'm making it up.
It's definitely a real thing.
It's a real thing. Okay,
I
perfect.
believe it's a real thing because I feel like it's a real thing.
Yeah, because like when I spoke, it was a little bit better, but when I read, it was completely like French accent. And I think a lot of people did appreciate it because they liked it. But for me, it was like an insecurity because I was like, okay, why am I sounding different than everybody else? So
Yeah.
I started this journey to erase my accent. It was like whole brutal journey trying to speak as an American as much as possible. But I'm glad it never worked because I want to keep my heritage. Oh, at least does it work? I don't know. Do I have an accent? What do you think?
I'm not sure how your accent. Even me, I still have an accent. So I feel as if it's one of those situations where you can only try to reach a point where you sound proper, where other people can hear you and not really be confused about what you're saying. But I think the accent will always be there, especially if you
Yes.
speak more than 3 languages, bro. It's always gonna be there.
Crazy.
You will
Madness,
not.
man. I speak. Well, you speak Kibembe too, right?
I speak Kivembe. I'm
Yeah.
starting to lose Swahili here. So Swahili is yeah, I'm starting to lose it.
I'm a little bit big on Swahili. Kibembe a little bit, I hear things here and there. So you can't really criticize me and not catch it up. I think I'm losing Kibembe even more because I don't speak Kibembe at home, and nobody in my family speak Kibembe. I just catch it on when I was in the refugee camp.
Yeah.
But certainly Swahili, I mean, I was in Tanzania, I felt like a king, man. I was able to understand everybody. They were able to understand me a little bit. I mean, amazing, man. Amazing experience there. Man, that's crazy. Like, it's just like thinking about the journey from like coming from Africa, right? Here. I just see that we have overcome so much. Like, I can imagine the first time I came, actually, the little transformational story here of me. I worked at a restaurant in Boise, Idaho, downtown Boise. It's called The Reef. Amazing place, good food. I was a dishwasher. I was one of the dishwasher. And as a dishwasher, there was another guy from, I think, Nepal or some other country, also didn't speak English. But the cooks, I had a whole bunch of cooks there who really did inspire my confidence when it comes to speaking English, because I basically I try my best to communicate with them, because I was in the back, right? Like, I was not
Yeah.
like in the front and everything. So I was communicating with the cook and everything. So if you ask me, I will tell you, right? If you ask me, I'll tell you I probably know a lot of food, like food names, more than I know a lot of other things.
Yeah, you work at a restaurant. I guess that's the
I
big.
know, right? So like chicken Alfredo and all that stuff, like you can't. I cannot mess up. I say stuff and people are like, "How did you know that? That's some dish." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's one of those experience I picked up coming in." And then after that, I ended up working in the grocery store. And what I was doing is actually I worked for a store called Abason. It's a kind of a West Coast thing. I know a lot of people know it, but I was in the produce, so I knew like all the type of apples, all the vegetables and names and things. So that helped a lot. My goal was to get to be a cashier, but that didn't work out until later. Certainly, that journey is really incredible, and I'm glad that we're here. We can actually talk about this and laugh about this. Feel sad and happy at the same time. I just know. I mean, back on my head, I just know there's other people who are going through it, and it's not easy, man. It's not easy when you walk into a classroom and know that nobody understands what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, they have no idea what you're saying, and you probably have no idea what they're saying. It's a feeling that's a little bit it can get people to give up easily, and it needs a lot of hard work to achieve anything, if at all, in these countries. So yeah, I'm glad we're talking about this. Really, I'm really glad. Hey, how about we talk a little bit about what to expect? Maybe take us through a journey of why you're looking at this show in a couple months, a couple years. Maybe we're gonna evolve and bring in AI. I don't know. Everything is going so fast right now. What do you see? What do you see us going, and what do you think some of the topic that we could be talking about?
I think the topic will be broad. And me personally, I personally like I love to talk about finance. So I'm hoping that it's gonna be one of those topics. And finance is very broad. That can go into it's something that I wish I knew earlier. Building your credit, just in a home, all that process that comes with it. I feel as if that is still within the finance aspect of it. But again, we'll definitely talk about many different things. It doesn't have to be finance. Again, the whole point of this show is if you can ask me, right? So definitely open to a lot of topics that are relatable, that a lot of people can actually relate to. Perhaps they have a similar experience or something of that nature, but it's definitely broad in terms of the topics that we can discuss.
So yeah, I mean, on the same notes, right? I was gonna say, I love finance, but this is one thing I want people to understand. I have a degree in finance too, right? On top of my IT degree, I have a degree in finance. So oftentimes I get loose behind with an idea that, I study finance, so I should know this. I want a lot of people to understand, just because you walk on Wall Street, just because you studied finance, just because you went to class and took all this credit. I took like 60, maybe even 40 credits, like finance classes. It does not mean you understand personal finance. It's a completely different thing. It's a whole ball game. I get to learn myself because I know there's a lot of stuff that we don't really know. I took a class about insurance when I was in college, and I couldn't tell you that I know as much as anybody about insurance, because it's just what you're learning in school. It's more of like corporate focus. They're just focusing about their books. They're focusing about their finances. They're focusing about their investment on the corporate level. But on a personal level, I think that's so important. And I do know that a lot of people lacks that. And one thing I've learned in this country is that if you really want to get ahead, you don't have to make a lot of money. You have to know how money works, how to use it, how to apply it into your everyday life. You can make
Yeah,
a lot of money today but still be broke tomorrow. And
exactly.
it's just the chemistry that's like a lot of people are missing. And I feel like coming from like an entrepreneurship kind of background with like a lot of side hustle. I know we talked about a lot of this stuff before. And me coming from a hardcore corporate finance kind of ideas and background, bringing this together, it seems like for me, like if you, I like this is my opinion again. If you ask me, I would say that we're going to actually bring a lot of value to everybody listening to us. So bear with us. We're gonna take you on the journey here and talking about that. And I'm not saying that we're only gonna talk about just finance. I mean, of course, like as you can hear, we've been through a lot too. Adulting. I know we all married now. Like I have a child now. All that stuff is worth talking about. So really, the whole main point is just to give you uncut personal decision as is what I would answer if somebody would ask me a question. And I like the way Mercerio kind of leading the conversation by asking me a question because I want to answer what you asked me, and I would encourage everybody too, like who's listening to us, do ask questions. I mean, why not? What's the worst that could happen? Maybe I have a different opinion. Maybe you would disagree, but so what? That's what we hear. We just talk about different things. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Speaking of like personal finance, and like you mentioned earlier, you can make a lot of money, but at the end of the month, you're still broke, right?
Yeah,
And when it comes to personal finance, it's all about discipline. It's all about sticking to the plan that you have, the budget that you have in place. My theory is this: America is one of those countries where everyone is trying to make money off of you,
yeah.
one way or the other. The moment you step outside, you are a victim.
You are hearing it from a salesperson.
Someone is trying to either sell you something one way or the other. They're trying to sell you something. If you're driving, you might see a billboard. Someone is marketing so you can see their product or their service.
Yeah.
So America is one of those countries where if you're not too carefully, every single month, someone is going to be taking your money.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to be the electric company, it's going to be someone is
Everybody.
taking your money.
Yeah.
So that's
It's not necessarily, like I always say, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a
definitely
capitalism
not bad.
point of view. Like honestly, if you really think about it, it's just like everybody's trying to survive, and how would they do that, right? So they have to make the money from somewhere, and that money has to come from somewhere. I think, and one of the things that we may have to talk about, like, maybe we could touch on this Ponzi scheme that's going on, because recently I've been seeing that. My gosh, a lot of people have lost a lot of money because of trying to make money very quickly. And
Yeah.
my opinion, right? My opinion, yes, you can. There are some way to make quick money, like lottery. You can do that. That's fine. But there have been a lot of buzz in the community, in a lot of community actually, and a lot of people when it comes to this money grab quick, and then they ended up drowning into these Ponzi schemes over and over and over. I do believe that's kind of what we're talking about, because a lot of people really lost. And I think part of it is the lack of financial literacy, financial knowledge, really understand how things works. For example, somebody was talking to me about this Ponzi scheme that was going on with crypto and everything. But I do have a background. I understand cryptocurrency. I literally did mine Bitcoin. So for a person who understands how the blockchain work and everything, you'll be able to pinpoint and be like, no, this is literally a scam. But it's
Yeah.
so hard for a lot of people because they don't have the knowledge to do that. So I think that's one of the topics that we may talk about in the future. I think it would be valuable for the community and for everybody who's been grieving with all the Ponzi scam going around. I'm not gonna name any names. I know a lot of people know, but I would say, I think it would be a good time to start talking about insurance, like life insurance, for example. Start talking about 401k. Oh, Roth IRA. Start talking about rollover. Start talking about actual investments like bonds. Like if you have cash, like some people put money in safe these days. I mean, you got bonds you can invest in, you got CDs you can invest in, you got the stock markets. I mean, it's not safe. It's not the safest. You're getting something out of your money. You got high yield saving accounts. You got all these financial instruments that you could use. And I'm hoping one day we can like tap into this, like really maybe even go topic by topic. I'm really excited about what we can bring out. I know that we can bring a lot of value into this. I do believe that, we're going to get the audience who are actually interested. So leave us a comment. Leave a comment we're going to have guests. I know I didn't mention that earlier, but the other thing that we're thinking about as far as the show come in, we're gonna bring in guests. We're gonna bring in experts and send field to talk about different things. Some of us are gonna be our friends. Some of us are gonna be people you know in a community or somewhere. So we're really excited about that because again, we can't know everything. So we only know as much as you're calling the show. If you ask me, we're gonna bring in some experts in the field, but they will give us their opinion of what they would think. Because you
Hmm.
remember, like somebody can be an expert in the field, but because they're an expert in the field, they can be limited on what they can say because this is considered a financial opinion. But if you give them a platform where they can just be themselves and just talk about uncut decision, what they think about how much knowledge that could bring, right? That's what I'm thinking. Like if you're rocking with us and until the end of this, I'm sure you're gonna get a lot of value out of this for sure.
Yeah. And for the audience, again, this is not any advice. All the things that we talk about is not any advice whatsoever. It's not for you to take this as a financial advice or as a way of saying, hey, let me go try this. If you do try
Yeah.
something, again, do deep research to speak to it. If you have CPA, speak to your CPA. Again, it's quite important to just do research rather than actually trying
Yeah.
it. We could hear something that say work for us or based on our experience, but the
Yeah.
situation could be looking different for you. So it's important to
Yeah.
understand your situation, your goals, what you want out of it, but most importantly, do your own research, right?
Yes.
Again, doing
And
your
like
own
what I
research
was
is so
saying,
important.
yeah, what I was saying, like of the stuff that I'm going to be telling you, of course, it's not a professional opinion, but if you ask me, I'll probably do it. Like if you ask me, right? Like if you ask me,
Yeah.
that's what I would do. That's what I'm telling you, right? But whether or not you're going to do it, that's your decision to make, and that's and again, you've been warned. It's not professional opinions. So I'm glad that we're here, and I know that this is gonna be a very short episode. The beginning one, next topic is gonna be amazing. So stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram. It's if you ask me /LM. Like Loin Bon Merci. Very simple.
Mhm.
We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We are on Facebook, and we're going to continue to add even more platform. We'll be on YouTube as well, and this is where we're gonna find this podcast. We're setting that up, and so as soon as this episode is on YouTube, please feel free to share, comment, share with other people you love and care about, because of course we wouldn't want to give free financial advice and free financial experience. I do feel like even for those people who like to work and then just listen in your car, really do it, because for a lot of people this thing is gonna relate to you directly, right? So would you rather hear somebody who's some sort of big shot from Wall Street or something, or NBC or CNN, or would you rather have to talk to someone who live with you every day, understand your struggle, understand you, and they're talking about the experience of them and where we're coming from? I know you guys understand our background. I don't have to explain that again, but if you really add that up, it really comes with a lot of experience. It comes with a lot of hard work to get where we are today. It comes with a lot of determination, and it comes with a lot of wisdom. So if you do get the chance to tap into that wisdom, if you ask me, I'll take it. So
That's a good way to end
yeah,
this episode here. Looking forward to the next episode. For the audience, if you guys have a specific topic that you guys want us to talk about,
yeah,
you can make suggestions. Again, it's still up to us whether we'll do that or not.
yeah.
But
And you can
definitely
also
welcoming.
write us on our Instagram if you ask me. Again, just type in if you ask me /LM. You'll find us and tell us what you think. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening.
See you next time.
See you next time.
If you ask me, we will tell it straight. Mercy and Wambo.